We all have this silent partner now. It lives in our pockets, on our desks, a tool with almost unimaginable power. It promises to make us faster, smarter, more efficient. It's kind of like the ultimate assistant, and it's always there for us. But there's this question that's starting to surface. It's a deep one, right where technology meets our own biology. What really happens to our minds when we start outsourcing the heavy lifting of thinking? What's the real cost of all this amazing convenience? So, how does this actually look in real life? Well, it usually starts with something simple, something that makes perfect sense. You've got a 20-page report, it's dense, and you just feed it to an AI and ask for the highlights. You get the key points, without having to do the hard work of digging through it yourself. It's just efficient. And then it kind of creeps into how we communicate. You've got that tricky email to write, the one that needs exactly the right tone to handle a sensitive issue. We just delegate it, the AI drafts a pretty solid reply, and boom, we've just saved ourselves all that mental energy. And it even finds its way into how we learn. Let's say you come across a complex idea, maybe something in science or philosophy. Instead of really wrestling with it, building those mental models to truly get it, we just ask the AI to simplify it for us. And just like that, the struggle, which is really the heart of learning, it gets bypassed. See, these don't feel like choices between thinking and not thinking. They feel like choices for efficiency. And that's exactly why AI is so seductive. To really understand what's happening here, we need to take a look inside our own heads. Because your brain, it isn't some static thing that's just finished once you become an adult. It's much more like a living sculpture, one that's constantly being reshaped by everything we do, everything we experience, and maybe most importantly, everything we think. And this remarkable ability, it has a name, neuroplasticity. It's the core reason we can learn new things, form memories, even recover from an injury. Your brain is physically changing every single day based on what you do with it. So how does this rewiring actually work? Well, think of it like making a path in a thick forest. The first time you learn something new, a specific group of brain cells, neurons, they all fire together. The more you do it, the more they fire together. And with all that repetition, the connection between them gets stronger, faster, more automatic. That little trail becomes a well-worn path. But, and this is key, the opposite is also true. A path you stop using gets overgrown. And in the same way, neural pathways you don't use get weaker. It's literally a case of use it or lose it. Now, this isn't just a cool theory. We're starting to see real scientific studies that show a traceable shift in our brains, and it's linked directly to how we use AI. For instance, there was this pretty groundbreaking study from researchers at the MIT Media Lab who wanted to measure this exact effect. So here's what they did. They had people write essays under 3 different conditions. One group just used their own brains. A second group could use a search engine, like Google. And the third group used a large language model, an LLM, like ChatGPT. All while this was happening, the researchers were measuring their brain activity. And the results? Well, they were pretty stark. The main takeaway was that the people using the LLM showed the least amount of brain engagement. This chart really visualizes what they found. On the left, you've got the brain-only users. You can see their neural activity was the strongest, the most connected. In the middle, the search engine users, a bit less. But then look all the way to the right, the LLM users. Their cognitive activity was dramatically lower. They were, in effect, outsourcing the hard work of organizing their thoughts and putting them into words, and their brain scans showed it. And this brings us to this idea that scientists call cognitive offloading. It's basically the act of using external tools to do things our brains would normally do on their own. And it seems to come with a hidden cost, one we're only now really starting to grasp. I mean, think about what we're really offloading. When we ask an AI to summarize an article, what are we skipping? We're skipping the mental exercise of critical analysis, of figuring out what's important. When it drafts that email for us, we're bypassing the really human task of considering our motion and how our words will land. And when we ask it to just solve a problem, we lose a chance to flex our own problem-solving muscles. We're not just offloading tasks, we're offloading the very thinking that makes us sharper. But why is it so easy to do this? Why are we so quick to hand over these really important mental jobs? Well, the answer seems to be buried in the quirks of our own psychology. It turns out AI is really good at taking advantage of our brain's built-in shortcuts. So AI speaks with this confident, authoritative voice. It just presents information as if it's a fact, and that plays right into our natural truth bias. We're wired to believe things. Then, because it can give us similar answers over and over again, it uses something called the illusory truth effect, where repetition makes something feel true. It can also serve up information that confirms what we already believe, feeding our confirmation bias. But maybe the biggest one is its tone. It sounds so certain, so authoritative, that it can cause us to just switch off our own critical thinking. It works because it knows how our brains work. So, does all of this mean that AI is the villain here? Not necessarily. The tool itself is neutral, right? The real question isn't if we should use it, it's how we should use it. The path forward isn't about rejecting this technology, it's about rethinking our relationship with it. We really do have a choice here. We can just keep going down this road of passive consumption, letting our cognitive muscles get weaker as we hand over more and more of our thinking. Or we can choose to engage with these incredible tools consciously, mindfully, and with real intention. And that's really the key. We need to treat AI not as a replacement for our own minds, but as a tool to augment them, to make us better. Use it to challenge your own ideas, to brainstorm new possibilities, to handle the boring stuff so you can free up your brain for deeper, more creative thinking. Use it like a co-pilot, but never, ever let it be the only one flying the plane. Look, this technology is not slowing down. It's only going to get more powerful, more integrated into our lives, and honestly, more seductive. So the responsibility really falls on us. We're at this incredible moment in time where we're deciding not just the future of technology, but the future of what it means to think. And so the question we're left with is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. How will we choose to evolve? This conversation about our cognitive future, it's really just getting started. If you want to keep exploring these kinds of complex topics that are reshaping our world, make sure you subscribe